May profits be upon you. Welcome back to another weekly Forex forecast. You are trading with RT Money. We're going to take a look at the US dollar. We're going to jump right into this. Why not? All right. The US dollar is where we usually start, starting with the US dollar index because it is the bellwether for the rest of the currencies. I just want you to know that it's not an easy read. Let me see. Let me show you what I mean. You see how price has been just kind of moving sideways? All right. Just blah, 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 blah. It's not the kind of price action you want. But this is the monthly time frame that we're looking at. All right. Each of these candles represents 1 month of time. All right. And what you can see is price consolidated here, peaked above it, made you think, hey, we're going up. Turned out not to be so. It came back into the consolidative range. All right, that usually shows weakness. That usually says weakness to me. Okay, did not take out the low. All right, this is a strong low. Why is it a strong low? Because it made a new high. All right, it did not take out that strong low. It tested it, and still price rejected from it. This becomes the new low I put my focus on. Right. This is how I work for folks. All right. The price did not take out the old high. What does that mean? That makes this a weak low. And when price doesn't, the only job of a low is to make a new high. If it doesn't do so, it becomes a target for liquidity. And that's exactly what price did. Came back and swept that low. Okay. Boom. Right here. So what does that mean? All right. Does that mean that uh, price is going to continue lower? Not necessarily. You see how it uh, kind of bounced here after it took the low? Well, when you take an important low like this on a high time frame like the monthly, if it doesn't trade through it where you see a close below that low, it indicates to me that it has unfinished business up higher. It doesn't mean up here, it just means down here. But the fact that this high didn't take this high out, for me, this represents a swing a swing failure, and that eventually price is going to take out this low. Okay, that's my my forecast, my longer range forecast. But for right now, price is dancing down here, and when you see a low taken, you expect some kind of pullback, which we're getting. Okay, does it mean that it goes higher? Well, let me tell you this. What I will note is that we have a a swing low. I mean a swing low, a bearish fair value gap here. All right, and uh, what price is going to do, what price can do, is travel up and then go down lower from that fair value gap. This get every time you see a bearish fair value gap, it's the potential is for price to bounce or to come and tag it to go to make lower prices. Okay, now let's go a little further. All right, and we can go to the we can go to the to the weekly. I meant to hit the weekly. And quickly on the weekly, you can see inside of that fair value gap, that monthly fair value gap is a weekly fair value gap, which we are now tapping. Price tapped that weekly fair value gap, created this bearish candle, did not take out the low. All right. You see how it rejected here. Could we see some follow through with that? We certainly could. I think that potential is there. All right. Why from here it didn't take out that low is very interesting to note. All right. If we go to the daily, what do we see? Remember this weekly fair value gap? Here is the daily fair value gap that is left behind. Okay. What do I expect to happen here? We did not reach that bearish fair value gap. All right. And what I want you to note is as price rejected from the weekly fair value gap that is here, from oh yeah, sorry, from here to about here, price came up to that weekly fair value gap and came down. What I want you to notice is two things. What I want you to notice is two things. One, there's a bearish fair value gap here. That price is now tapping. All right. And I also want you to note that price did not take out that low. All right. Leaving relative equal lows below, which is a very strong draw on price. What do I expect coming this week? I expect price to, I don't want to see it come past half of this wick, the halfway mark of this week. Get out of there. All right. I don't want to see, I don't want to see it come back half that wick. What I want to see is price probably come down here. And I want to see what it does once it reaches back up to this bearish fair value gap. If it gets past that bearish fair value gap, I'm looking for price to come all the way up here to this bearish fair value gap, the untapped one. All right, which are always stronger. All right, and when they're not mitigated, that means there's a good chance that price will reject from that fair value gap to go lower. This is what I was talking about on the lower time, I mean the higher time frames. I'm looking for price to hit this monthly, weekly, daily fair value gap. All right, they're overlapping each other here, and I would like to see. I would like to take a short from this high probability area on. I was short against the U.S. dollar here. That's my point. Okay, and so in the next week or maybe more, we could see price travel up with the U.S. dollar. We can see strength coming to the U.S. dollar, and then and it's going to, but I believe it's only going to be short term, and then we'll take out these lows, these relative equal lows here. But this will be my first draw on liquidity target right here, and we'll see what happens after that. Okay, we got to see what it does with this bearish fair value gap with the U.S. dollar. I mean the euro U.S. dollar. What am I looking for? See that target here? This is the same one that the US, the Dixie, the US dollar index has already tapped, already hit, and we start to see a pullback from there. All right. We haven't done that with the high because this is the inverse of the US dollar index of the Euro USD is. So I believe that target is still, on the mark on my target list to be hit. I hope that makes sense. So what am I looking at here? I'm looking at that strength coming back to the US dollar and price going into a discount area of this trading range. All right. And hitting uh, a the discount area, getting below the equilibrium. I'm looking at, sorry, I'm looking at this area right here at 1,000 or 1,100 really, or between that area and here, so that we can hit here, we can hit this area and continue higher, and that coincides with that fair value gap on the US dollar index. So I'm looking for this. This is what I'm looking for. But this may happen this week. This may be over the next course of the next 2 weeks. All right. So I have a nearby target right here. Okay. And we'll see. All right. There is no bullish fair value gap for price to hit here, unlike the bearish fair value gap on the US dollar index. So this here, because it's already been filled, is a non-issue. We want to see if price continues lower into this order block here with a very small fair value gap. That price has already tapped. So I want to see if price will reverse off of this low or come lower into discount. I'm looking for, I would prefer this scenario where price comes into the discount area and continues higher. All right. But this is the immediate target first, then this low here. All right. If we get down towards this low, that's where I'll be looking for a reversal. Okay. If we go to the British pound, I'm looking for similar. All right. I'm looking for price to, if I can do this, come down to this fair value gap and this fair value gap. This is the one I prefer. All right. I'm looking for this. This low is my first target, and this low as my a secondary target. This is the one I prefer. I keep saying prefer because it's better positioned. If we go to the weekly, you'll see that there is a large weekly bullish fair value gap here. That's I want to see the fair value gap do its job and send price higher, but price will have to penetrate down to uh, the area, the midpoint, which is the consummate encroachment area of the fair value gap, and that's around where I prefer those lines, where I prefer price to turn around. That's right around that same area. So that's why I'm saying I prefer it. There's an overlap that I'm looking for, and this secondary fair value gap that I have not marked because I don't want to confuse anybody. But this is, if I can get it, there you go. All right, this is where I'm hoping price makes it to, right here. Okay, so, and that's within the weekly fair value gap. Okay, if we go to the Aussie is very simple for me. Look at this. All right, this is the trading range, right? Boom. This is the trading range from bottom to the low. I mean, from the swing low to the swing high. All right, price did not trade through the high, but it did sweep it. I'm looking for price to pull back, preferably to the the equilibrium area. But sometimes, if there's a lot of upward momentum, it only goes to 38%. But I'm looking for price to turn around, and this area here is an area that I have my eye on. Why? If we go to the weekly, you can see that there is a weekly fair value gap right there, and I'm looking for price to get to, it's already tapping it. I'm looking for price to turn around here. So if we go back to the daily, you can see uh, this is the area where the order block kind of intersects. And you already know from watching my videos, I like it when it intersects and whatever. I'm looking for area, and it's overlapping the consummate encroachment of this weekly bullish fair value gap. I'm looking for price to turn around right there. That's it. I'm looking for it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I'm looking for it. All right, we'll see if price gives us an invalidation to fair value gaps that may or may not develop here. So I'm looking. I'm looking. You got to watch these things. Okay. And let's go to uh, New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar. This is, we're looking at the daily. I'm looking for it to pull back. All right. What am I looking for? All right. Let's see. If we put the fibs on here and we come down to the 50% area, just below the equilibrium, we have an intersection, the intersection of a fair value gap and a swing. Come on, man. An area of fair value or an order block here. I would like to see price come down here, and I can take a high probability trade higher. That's it. That's it. I want to see price come down here. All right. It may wick below this area, but I believe the close and open will be in this area, and that's where I'm looking for price to turn around. Does that make sense? I hope so. If I have to draw it, I'm looking for this. All right. If we go to the CAD, this was last week. everything was going, everything was going according to plan. Hey, I'm waiting for it to get in the fair value gap, the bullish fair value gap, as we take this high. But that high, once you take that high, an important swing high like this one or this one, you got to expect a pullback at some point. Well, what the pullback has started. Where's the pullback going to? That's why you use the Fibonacci tool, because it can help you with those pullbacks. All right, we want the pullback to come back to and the from premium to discount below the 50% area, and we have uh, a fair value gap down here that looks like a good candidate. Let's see if I can just draw them. I'll be all right. But this one is invalidated. All right, that NFP candle just ruined everything. It just ruined everything. We come down here. All right, so I'm looking for price to maybe take out this low, this order block here, trade through that low. Let's get rid of that, and maybe we get our bounce here and then up. Okay, this area, you see all this historic resistance here that extends to this area. I'm looking for price to maybe wick past this low, bounce in the fair value gap, and continue higher, because I believe, because we took out that swing high and traded through it, I'm looking for price to pull back and then go up naturally. Okay. All right. So if we go to the US dollar CAD, all right. Now, again, we were just looking at the CAD USD because we're looking at the futures version. The inverse of that is the US dollar CAD. And again, we have that a bearish fair value gap this time, not the bullish one, but a bearish one that price is traded through. All right. I'm looking for price to maybe wick past this area and just continue lower. All right. There's a good area. This is a good high probability area for price to want to continue lower from. I'm looking for something like this. So we may get, again, see that US dollar strength coming in short term this week and then turning down to take out that low. All right. So my first what do you call it, target would be this this draw on liquidity here. All right. I'm hoping that it comes all the way up here so I can take a high probability trade to the downside. That's what I'm looking for. All right. We have these targets down here that are still waiting to be hit. And these are low resistance liquidity. This is a low resistance liquidity run right here. These are low resistance targets. So I'm hoping that price just pulls back, has a retracement, and comes on down. All right. If we go to the Swiss, you can see I had this swing high as my target. It was not hit last week. It was on the way to being hit, but I do believe that that target will be hit. All right. But with US dollar strength coming into play, I think this low it will become my first target. I don't think it. I think we'll see a retracement pullback because we took out these lows. I'm looking for a price to pull back a little bit to this untapped fair value gap here. Let's get that. Let's get rid of that. This 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 fair value gap here. I'm looking for price to continue higher from there. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. So we can finally hit these higher targets. All right, and with the yen, with the yen, because I think that this strength in the yen futures, we can see that it's pretty strong. We've hit an order block here, all right, and we are creating, as you can see, uh, fair value gaps here. All right, so I'm looking for the yen to continue to be strong and continue higher against the US dollar. Uh, Follow me to my next video so that we can go over the equities. All right. and I will leave a link for you. Make sure you leave a comment. May profits